Hi, I have a fun book to share with you today. Now, when I pick out my books for just for fun, I always try to tie them in somehow to what we've been learning. And so, in my story today, there are going to be some playful rabbits. They are full of a lot of energy, and their diet consists of the farmer's garden. And the farmer is not very happy about this. So I hope you enjoy my book for fun today called Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. And this book is by Candace Fleming and it's illustrated by G. Brian Karras. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and of gobbling them all up. But he never once tried it until this spring, said Mr. McGreely. This spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed and he sowed and he watered and we watched his garden grow. Check out this over here. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. McGreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh veggies. But one night, when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippy, 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 pat. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his gnawed sprouts, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, no bunny can get into my garden now. And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 pat. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. Did that fence work? Not really, did it? The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his nibbled leaves and his gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. He huffed. Those flop ears will never get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. Over there. And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 pat. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. You see Mr. McGreely's over here dreaming about his carrots while his garden's being eaten yet again. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry. So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. Ha! He snorted. Those puff tails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. So are they going to be able to get through that water, over that water? Let's find out. And the sun went down and the moon came up. Tippy, 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 pat. Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. That water didn't stop them. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chomped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and he blocked, sawed and stocked, drilled and filled, and trapped and locked. He built a huge, enormous thing before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure, he exclaimed. They can't get through it, they can't get under it, and they can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now. I got to admit, that does look like it's going to keep them out, doesn't it? But will it? And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched the huge, enormous thing before them. And tippy, 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 pat, the bunnies hopped away. That lock did stop them, didn't it? The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy. I beat the bunnies, he whooped, and he did a jiggly wiggly victory dance. Then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. Sighed Mr. McGreely, at last. Smacking his lips, he picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. Now, did you notice something in those pictures? Here's his basket. And as he's climbing over through everything, what's inside that basket? That's right. So as he's putting his vegetables in there, those 3 rabbits are inside. And he reached inside for something yummy. Muncha, muncha, muncha. So we decided, I guess, I'm just going to have to share, right? Well, I hope if you and your family plant a garden that you don't have bunny trouble like they did. Otherwise, you might just have to share.